Hello and welcome again to Joy at Work. My name is Karen Volo and I'm your Chief Joy Bringer and Director of Evoloshen Academy, where we are bringing joy to the workplace. And I want to talk to you today about what is engagement really? Because a lot of people seem to confuse engagement in terms of employee engagement and what it is. So I want to share with you, when I was writing the book Engage, we were looking for the definition of, what is engage, and couldn't find one that really encompassed what we thought it should mean. So I figured, okay, well, if we're writing a book on engage, why don't we just put our own definition then of what we mean by engagement, and then, it'll be clear for people. So I'm going to read here for you exactly what it is, what we have defined as engage. So basically, it's to have full attention, commitment, enthusiasm, passion, and purpose for your work, and to be wholeheartedly involved in and to contribute positively to an organization. So there you have the definition. And basically, I wanted to share that with you because oftentimes people will confuse employee satisfaction with engagement. And what we have found is that, you can have a highly satisfied organization, and that does not necessarily mean that they're engaged. So when you have satisfaction, what they're measuring is the level of happiness, and that they are actually fulfilling their job description and their duties of what they need to do. So disengaged employees are not necessarily not doing their job. They're just not emotionally committed to it, and they're not passionate as much as you would like them to be. And that, when you're talking about engagement, employee engagement, you're looking at people who have that deeper emotional connection. They have the passion, they have the purpose of why they're doing what they're doing, and they're having that discretionary effort that they're willing to expend at work, and coming up with new ideas and being creative and working with lots of people. And I mean, you can come up with, I'm sure, someone you can think of at work who you would say is they're fully engaged. They really love what they do. So it's important to really understand the distinction between satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and employee engagement, because they're very closely related, but they're measuring different things, and that you can have an organization that has a high level of satisfaction but isn't necessarily engaged, which is kind of an unusual thing. You wouldn't think that would be possible, but it is actually. So when we're looking at, engagement and how do you increase the levels of engagement, you need to look at the emotional connection that you have, as well as how you want employees to contribute, and also, what are the behaviors you want people to be having at work? How do you reinforce that? How do you bring out the best in people so that they can feel like they really, are contributing in a very positive way? I love that we use the word wholeheartedly, because it really comes from that passion, that inside energy that we have inside of us when we feel like we're doing something we love. We talk about flow and being in the flow, and when you lose track of time because you're so, focused in what you're doing and you're enjoying it so much, you lose track of time. Well, that is part of engagement as well. So engagement is actually a very huge topic, and we have our research board with Evoloshen, where we are looking at bringing in the academic experts in different areas. So we have, for example, Richard Barrett from Values, who's the expert on values, and we have Judith Glazier, who works with conversational intelligence and how do you work with conversations and the neuroscience behind that. So we have lots of different experts in different areas of engagement that are helping to filter in this information so that we can share it with our network and our audience and our business, connections, obviously, to accelerate the learning of how we can share and, make the world a better place and have a bigger impact, basically, because we want to help people get fully engaged at work. And how do we do that? If you know anything about engagement, you've probably heard the Gallup State of the Global Workforce. It shows that only 13% of the global workforce is engaged. I think that's a huge tragedy. I don't believe that we as human beings were born to be miserable, that we should be hating our work. Of course not. And as business leaders, you want your employees to love what they're doing, don't you? Right? Sometimes people will laugh at me because I'm bringing love into the workplace, but who doesn't want their employees to love their work? You're going to have more engagement, higher productivity. You'll create that high performance culture that you want to have when you've got engaged employees who are doing what they love and who are, stepping into their best selves. So think about engagement in terms of how you can work with it strategically and how can you bring out the best of your employees. And there's so many different ways you can work with this, but I'm hoping in the series that I can give you some tips along the way that you can start to implement right away. So thank you for listening. Do what you can to get your workforce engaged, and hopefully we'll connect again here soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.